The Galactic Arena was filled with the roar of the crowd as the Draconar team entered, their footfalls causing the very ground to tremble. 7 feet tall, with thick green scales and muscular frames honed by a harsh homeworld, they were an intimidating sight. Their leader, Overlord Zarkon, raised his massive arms and bellowed, whipping the spectators into a frenzy. On the opposite side, the doors slid open and the human team strode out. They were unimposing by comparison, average height and build, their simple uniforms bereft of any adornments. But their leader, Tyrell Knox, had fire in his eyes. His jaw was set with determination as he gazed around the vast arena. The din of the crowd was deafening, but he and his team were calm and focused. They tuned it all out, mentally preparing themselves for the brutal contests ahead. The Draconar had issued the challenge according to their strict code of honor. Any species that wished respect among them must prove themselves in combat. Few had dared, and none had come close to defeating a Draconar warrior. Their immense size and animalistic ferocity were far beyond almost any other sentient race. But the humans had not shrunk from the challenge. Knox and his team, Ryan, Dante, Marcus, and Hero, were not intimidated. They had trained for this day, pushing themselves to their physical and mental limits. They had studied Draconar physiology and tactics. They represented the very best humanity had to offer. As they approached the center of the arena, Knox locked eyes with Overlord Zarkon. Amusement glinted in the Draconar's slit pupils, and his mouth twisted into a sneer, revealing rows of jagged teeth. "This will be quick, human," Zarkon growled. "I hope you said goodbye to your loved ones before coming here." Knox stared back, unintimidated. He had known men like Zarkon his whole career, bullies and braggarts who relied on fear and intimidation, but Knox had long since learned how to handle them. "We don't plan on dying today, Lizard," he replied calmly. This was psychological warfare too. He couldn't show even a hint of doubt or weakness now. The Draconar snarled, but before he could respond, the booming voice of the adjudicator filled the arena, announcing the start of the first challenge, unarmed combat. It was a bloodbath, as the Draconar had promised, but it was not human blood that flowed. With endurance, cleverness, and an almost maniacal refusal to yield, the outmatched humans managed to surprise everyone but themselves. Ryan choked out a victory against a Draconar twice his size, scrambling up onto its back and clinging on tenaciously as the enraged creature battered itself against the walls, trying to dislodge him. Marcus outmaneuvered and dispatched 2 warriors in quick succession, using their lumbering bulk against them. And Knox himself tackled Overlord Zarkon in a gutsy move that spoke either of bravery or insanity. But he had noticed how Zarkon favored his left leg, probably an old battle injury. He exploited that weakness ruthlessly, crashing into the leg again and again, dodging hammer-like blows until his opponent toppled over with a roar of pain and disbelief. In the end, bloodied but not beaten, the humans stood victorious to muted disbelief. The Draconar stared, chests heaving with exertion and rage. But this was only the first round. What other trials would the Draconar set to test them? As the adrenaline of victory wore off, Knox felt a flicker of apprehension. Thus far they had prevailed through grit, cunning, and preparation. But luck played its part too. How long could it hold? As he led his team from the arena, the cheering of the crowd still rang in his ears, but beneath it lurked unease. The second day saw the humans subjected to a grueling series of challenges. Races across razor-sharp terrain and toxic atmosphere, sub-zero temperatures, lightning strikes. It was trial by environment, designed to overwhelm their comparatively fragile human frames. But Knox's team ran, climbed, swam like men possessed. They had trained in high-gravity chambers, breathless vacuum, the harshest extremes their planet could offer. More than once, Knox spotted Draconar officials and team members blinking in surprise as the humans battled through each brutal challenge. When Dante collapsed from oxygen deprivation and hypothermia, Knox was there to support his semi-conscious body across the finish line. When Marcus took a bad fall and dislocated his shoulder, Hero was there to wrench it back into place so he could carry on with his other functioning arm. The team embodied the human virtues of solidarity, loyalty, and dogged determination. It was not beautiful. Knox doubted it would go down in the annals of heroic warfare, but it got the job done. It turned disbelief into grudging respect, one trial at a time. As they limped back into the arena that night, Knox lifted his chin in weary defiance as the crowd saluted them with cheers and stomping feet that shook the tears. But the Drakenar had one last twist of the knife in store, a final challenge to drive the human interlopers out once and for all, or die trying. What fresh hell would the morning bring, Knox wondered, as he finally collapsed into his bunk. But he already knew the answer deep down, as sure as the blood that still pounded through his veins. Whatever it was, they would face it together, and they would prevail, or die trying.